There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong, and I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see
And with that, I shall welcome you to the TG Diamond League. Welcome, everybody. We got an exciting match coming up today. It's going to be the TG Diamond League semi-final, so playoffs times, baby, like the whole week already. And as you remember, on Monday, on Tuesday, we saw these guys already. And today, Overstorms is back to face their new opponent. Is going to be Rising Shadows. But before we get into all of these neat details, let's have a look at who is going to be joining me today.
Hey, hello everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I am Sherlock, as some of you might have recognized, and I will be sidekicking Jason for this semifinals.
Indeed. So welcome, Sherlock. Most happy to cast with you again. Been some time, buddy. But yeah, we are here and we're in for some spicy things because I know these teams quite well from seeing them play, especially Garnix and Penguin on Earth and Bekofi. All of these guys are well known to me. And same for the Overstorms lineup. Like, I believe we have kind of become known to each other, not even daring to call them friends, but I think that is where we can consider ourselves, considering they have been with us for so long in many different teams.
Yeah, indeed. A lot of these names are actually very deeply branded into the Connecting Esports legacy overall. So this is definitely going to be a very exciting match indeed. As you said, when people will be looking at names such as Penguin on Earth, for example, you mentioned Galax as well. We have Flatline and Snades on the other side, on the side of Overstorm. So really, this is going to be a blast of a match, especially that whoever actually ends up winning this series will look pretty stacked coming into the finals, actually.
Exactly. It's all about just showing confidence for the finals. I mean, yes, this is an obstacle in order to get to the finals, but it's just like one best of five. You're not that far away from getting at least the prize money, even if it's the second place. But yeah, this is your entry ticket to the big boy show, and I think everybody is ready to show what they've got. And let's have a look if they're ready for the virtual draft. They are indeed. So let's head over to the virtual draft and we start off with an Irelia ban right away, and the Cassiopeia is following it.
Yeah, so my PentaQ is actually not quite able to load. The website is having a bit of trouble lately, but I just follow the drop through the stream.
Yes, no worries. So Trash and Soaka, the two more supports here, if this shall be locked in, will be banned away from Overstorms, as well as Oriana being gone thanks to Rising Shadow's second ban. They take.
I mean, you've seen what Flatline could do with that Oriana last Tuesday, right?
Exactly.
That
did
guy
not
was
forget.
Destroying games with that pick, so you absolutely ban it away. Same goes for Cassiopeia. Those are the two picks that this guy has been doing wonders on lately. So definitely a lot of mid lane priority in these bans on the side of Rising Shadows. Now you have also two picks that are coming in as support bans on the side of Overstorms. So those are comfort bans because Overstorms actually not that scared of going into like tough support matchups like something like Yumi or Lulu actually.
Yeah, and as we look at this furthermore, we'll actually see that on Hover now, and this is one pick we have not been seeing so much in the TG Platinum League these last days, like Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
But it seems to come back now. At least the Diamond is giving it some attention, and there's the Jarvan Hover, also one of the most common first picks, as well as a very comfortable pick for most junglers.
Yeah, there are a lot of teams also who like to handle the Ornn because it's just the reliability of the engage it provides is so good and so like it's one of the best hard engage available in the game in the top lane right now. So a lot of teams like to play around it. But the main problem with the Ornn is that sure it's strong, but it's easily counterpicked and drafted around. So Overstorm they eventually decide to go for the Jarvan, for example, which is not only a jungle pick, so you don't show too much of your draft, but you also leave yourself with the possibility of having a very aggressive draft with your Jarvan, glass cannon Jarvan kind of thing, and then also a scaling team comp with a tanky Jarvan maybe. And now Graves and Ashe locked in as a response by Rising Shadow.
Yeah, so Graves Ash is definitely not something I would have expected right away when you see that Jarvan. I would have been like, oh, nice, they picked the Jarvan jungle. Let's pick, like, for example, the Olaf. Let's pick, like, anything, like the Trundle. Counter that, but they just immediately go for that Graves as well as the Ash. A very uncommon pick, I must say. And now the Varus answer.
So, as you mentioned, right, the Graves is like one of the most pro-efficient jungler at power farming. And the thing is that Overstorms, they have manipulated the Jarvan with a tanky itemization a lot, and not so much with a more AD-wise kind of build. So Rising Shadow, they know that this Jarvan is going to be farming up, and they say, we're going to just grab a jungler that does it better. So there you go with the Graves. Now, Ashe is actually the weirder pick here for me, because not only is she kind of weak into the Jarvan, where she cannot get out of the Cataclysm, she's only here to provide some. At this point in the draft, she's only here to provide some, like, follow-up CC with the Crystal Arrow. So that's why you immediately get two more picks that do not tend to have such a strong identity in the meta right now, which are Varus and Azir. Of course, Azir being way more oriented toward the late game scaling, but Varus, on the other hand, he has the lethality build as well as the on-hit build, so that you can actually play aggressively if you have the option to, but you can also just sit back and scale for the later stages of the game. Now, Rising Shadow, on the other side, though, they are locking in that Echo that can fit also in the jungle and in the lanes, just like the Graves pick can do. So at least they have a lot of flexing potential with these two picks. And yeah, that's a big advantage for them.
I'm really surprised, as you said, like, this Ashe first off the bat is just so surprising to me. Like, I would not have imagined somebody picking this Ashe that confidently. And yeah, well, punished immediately, as you said. And the more interesting part here is actually the Echo as well. Like, you do see the Varus and you do see the Azir, and then you pick like an Echo that is really. We had this discussion actually yesterday in Twitch chat as well, and with the casters. Echo is so reliant on the enemy making a mistake because the champion itself is strong, but it only becomes valuable when ahead. If behind, it is definitely falling off way too hard. And yeah, picking an Echo this confidently as well as the Ashe just shows me Rising Shadow is pure of confidence today.
Echo and Ashe are actually more or less the same champions, where you have very strong power very early on, but then the scaling, the pattern of your scaling and the cost of your items only make it so that if you do fall behind, you're only going to be outscaling your opponent once you hit the 6-item stage of the game. If you don't hit that stage, you're always going to be behind because your items your items cost a lot more gold, and you do not have access to very good gold per minute if you are not fed, because you cannot actively kill the opponent without having some sort of advantage already in your pocket. Now, the support pick would be very interesting if that was a Zyra. It looks like Rising Shadow is also considering a safer option, but no, there you go. You have the Leona. So
okay. At least some aggression coming out. Like, so far we had no no front line, we had no engage tools. I mean, yes, the Asher is like not really engaged, it's a setup tool. And now the Leona is straight up, just pure engaged. I think this is one of the simplest engaged tool that you have in the bot lane support role.
And also that's a very good sign to have the Leona coming in the red 4 position, because up to this point, right, aside from the Graves being locked in as a response to Jarvan, you didn't have a lot of actual response by Rising Shadow to the draft of Overstorms, right? And then the only thing that you can grasp onto was the fact that Varus, sure, he's reliable, but the only weakness that he has is his lack of mobility. So you have the Ashe that comes in, you have the Ashe paired with the Leona. That means you have a lot of hard engage that's really hard to dodge by a Varus, especially if he's slowed down by the Frost Shot. So if you already have to make out a game plan for Rising Shadow at this stage of the game, then it would be something like going into the bot lane and trying to take down this Varus before it can even come online. And the Tahm Kench pick would actually be really good at denying that.
It would be, but then again, they just hovered it, same as Rising Shadows, and they did not lock it in. So I believe they might have some. Oh, actually, never mind. So they have the Tahm Kench locked in, and the Aatrox here, as you said, early aggression, and it's kind of revealing how your composition is going to look like. It's all in or nothing, because the only defensive tool is the Tahm Kench here. I mean, yes, there's like a Shuma, a Shuffle to disengage. There's like a lot of things like the Varus ultimate that can be used defensively, but mainly their composition is looking, hey, we want to go in, we want to get onto your backline and kill them instantly.
Yeah, specifically with this Aatrox pick, because Aatrox is one of those picks that like it when the enemy team has to come into him. And he also likes a lot team compositions that need to fight in a sort of mid-range scenario. So stuff like the Graves, for example, stuff like the Echo. And so if these two champions want to fight, they will have to face that Aatrox, and behind that Aatrox will be sitting the Varus, the Yazir, and now the Malphite locked in.
That is some solid response there, and solid as rock solid, because that's Malphite, baby, coming in here. He's going to be like, yo, you see that, Ash? Lock that target down in place. I'm going to rock slide onto that. And yeah, stream is ready for the actual draft, so now we will see which position will be taken by which character, but I think it's pretty obvious. There's no shenanigans with switcheroo going through here. But yeah, cannot wait to see what these guys have in mind as we swap over to the champion selection.
Now you have to keep in mind though that Graves can actually go to the mid lane as well, and Echo can go to the jungle. So you do still have that possibility of sending the Graves mid lane to go up against the Azir. The matchup isn't really in the favor of Graves, but he can hold that lane pretty fast, pretty well. And after he gets a couple of sub-component items under his belt, the matchup is actually in his favor. I doubt that we're going to see Graves mid lane though, because I know that there are very few players who are actually willing to pilot Graves in a solo lane, but then again, you never know, right? So to round up these compositions, I am very happy with the comp that Overstorms have gotten themselves, just by the way that the draft has gone in the early stages with the Jarvan, Varus as Azir picks. It already shows a lot of mastery, a lot of control over the drafting phase from the side of Overstorms, because they are really doing it by the book and in a fashion where you can see that it's executed quite well. You see, even though Rising Shadows decided to ban away two of the most favorite picks of Flatline, they were not destabilized by it. Right, they kept total control of that situation and just went with that beautiful draft. Getting the Tahm Kench last pick was also pivotal for that draft to be good, because the main point of the Rising Shadow composition was hard engage onto that Varus.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part actually discovered now in Twitch chat as well. I was thinking the whole time, what could have Rising Shadows done differently, or even Overstorms? Both of them had the option of picking the Ezreal, because that would have been, especially for Rising Shadows, considering the second pick that Ashe, they could have just picked up an Ashe there, an Ezreal instead. That is like a way more safer ground, and considering you have an Echo, you have a Malphite, you have a Graves, there's so much damage already coming in, you don't need the Ashe. And the Ashe arrow, when you have a Leona, is also not that necessary. I would have maybe, I mean, Yuumi wasn't banned. Ezreal Yuumi is still a thing, and it would have fit their composition a bit better to give them an easier laning phase. But we shall find out. Leona Ashe is definitely not bad in lane, and Varus Tahm Kench is also very tricky to face off against, especially if it's not on hit and it's lethality, which is the more common build path. Yeah, I just want to point out in the last 30 seconds before we go into the spectator delay and we talk about a bit more about these drafts, we can actually have some bets going on, and I see there's already 25 people here, so hello everybody. Pleased to see you all. And yeah, if you want to do exclamation mark points, you can see how many connectors you have, and you can bet them all away, as always, of course, and try to challenge us. As I said yesterday, if you make it into the top 10, I will be very proud daddy, but if you don't make it there, I will be very shameful. No, joking. Just better way, give me your predictions, prove everybody wrong when they say this draft is better, and so that you have really understood what this game is about. With that being said, spectator delay, here we go. And so far the betting is actually 57% to 42% in favor of blue. So very, very close bets coming through here, but slightly in favor of blue.
when you're telling these percentages, are you talking about the amount of people who bet on
Yes.
each team, or the amount
That's
of
the-
connectors points?
No, that's the
Okay.
amount of bets going towards one side. As we come with a very nice follow. Thank you so much.
So I do want to talk a bit about the drafts again before we
Yes.
get into
Let's
the game.
do it.
So the main thing that I wanted to highlight is that Ash and Leona into this virus time catch, like as you said, right, the main point that people think Rising Shadows could have done differently is that Ash pick. Now, usually in the meta right now, ADC matchup doesn't matter that much compared to the importance of support matchups in the lanes. The thing is that you have, if you were willing to pick the Yuumi, that means you needed to actually lock an AD carry that fits well with the Yuumi. But then you also show your hand because you also locked in the Graves as a response to the Jarvan. So that means you had to go for something like Vayne or Yuumi in red 2 rotation, and then it already showed what you wanted to do to the Overstorm lineup. So they could have responded immediately instead of locking in stuff like blunt stuff like Varus and Azir, and they could have gotten a very good draft at that point. And in amateur, not everyone is actually mentally ready or mentally confident that they can pilot the Yuumi or the stuff like, for example, Vayne Lulu this early on into the draft and having some sort of negative matchup in the early game and stuff. So I do understand why they didn't want to lock the Yuumi so early on. But then again, as you mentioned, right, the Ezreal pick was totally open, and Ezreal Yuumi is also something that works out quite well. And so I do believe that, yes, you could have done things differently, but I do not blame Rising Shadow necessarily for doing that. However, when you look around at all of their composition and also the teams that the tags, the names that accompany these champions, I still do favor a bit. I still do favor a bit the Rising Shadow composition. Because they have a lot of hard engage, right? They have the Malphite ultimate, Leona coming in, you have the Echo and Ashe in follow-up as well, and also the Graves damage in AoE that's just going to deal so much.
I mean, that's very, I would say, favoriting Rising Shadows here, but I think I have to back you up on the side of execution. A Malphite and a Graves just farming up our game, not caring about lanes, and an Ashe Leona is okay-ish safe against the Varus Tamkench, disregarding the Jarvan pick in that matter. So like they have two lanes that are just okay and that will do well no matter what. Like Malphite is always a good setup even if he's a bit behind. So is Leona, so is Ashe. You know, like these champions don't need a lot, and Graves will be happy just to go the long one. Echo is the really troubling part for me for Rising Shadows, especially against an Azir that is managing waves very well and also like has the range advantage, so that is really gonna be hard. And seeing as Azir went Conqueror and Flash Teleport, he's not even looking as if he's afraid. He didn't pick the exhaust or anything else like the cleanse. So yeah, definitely looking forward to see this mid lane matchup, and also the Aatrox into the Malphite is a tricky matchup for both sides because it's skilled matchup, even if there's a slight favoritism for Aatrox if he plays it correctly.
Yeah, the main winning condition of Rising Shadow right there is surviving through the early game, because if they do manage to leave the early game being at least even, they are going to be smashing the mid game, and from then on they can try to snowball it on, having seized like a Drake Sword or something. So they absolutely need to just survive that laning phase. Then they can group up, take down these objectives. And even though they have one less TP than Overstorms in that game, they are still going to be able to, you know, get things done if they manage to execute on that combo. Now we're seeing a bit of action.
Yeah, Varish is actually very lucky to move out of that bush preemptively and spot them. So this is a good thing, and you see the Jarvan immediately just pinging. He's going to go for the deep ward as well. They're going to spot Overstorms. Now Kench is definitely going to spot Rising Shadow once again here moving over to the normal 5-man lineup, a little bit of poke coming too. But yeah, so what I wanted to point out is very good by Diamond players, or like generally in our TG Diamond League, when it gets around the playoffs, you see the players being less Pepega and actually more pork, and they see, for example, Varus stepping out of that tribush was crucial for him. Most people would just sit in that tribush, and then when they come out the corner, Leona flash Q or flash E, and most definitely you are dead by then. So yeah.
That's
late.
actually how people are supposed to be covering in that around that tribush, but not a lot of people actually tend to do it.
Interestingly enough, we also have both junglers starting on the red buff right now, so they have no potential of meeting at the crab, especially since Graves is going to look to full clear eventually. Maybe a red pattern, and Aatrox even... Oh, okay, that's unlucky. Aatrox was sitting in the tribush over here, but Malphite will now check into it and not find the Aatrox sitting there anymore. That is sad. I wanted to see at least the first fight already.
You want some blood, damn.
Exactly. Let's start it off fancy and spicy.
Well, I do guess that you'll have to wait around a bit longer if you want to see some early actions.
Yeah. So
There's
far, top
already
lane
big
just some
trade
love
off.
taps, and they're still being in the vicinity actually, with Jarvan heading right over there. Might be them meeting at the top lane if Aatrox decides to push in this much, and he might get punished. Like, he does not respect that Graves started on the top side, but then again, it's a Graves. He has no PC to early unlock some target down. And there we see him puffing down to his Raptor Cams, means he's not gonna do anything fancy.
If you want the Graves to be proactive, you need the pressure on the side lanes, at least to be able to counter jungle a bit and match the enemy jungler. Speaking of enemy jungler, Jarvan coming top side, looking for some opportunity, but the lane is far too pushed for him to basically do anything. Maybe he can get a flash off or something. But yeah, Graves is one of those champions where, you know, since you do not have a very high ganking value. Oh, yeah, there we go.
They might actually go into this and they at least force the flash here. Okay, so flash force, Duck Radio not respecting the presence of Jarvan. And that is actually successful gank for Jarvan, even though it cost him a lot of time. If you look at the CS numbers already, actually in the bot lane, that's... Okay, Garmix is getting out alive. But yeah, Ashe has the advantage of pushing early on the bot lane, but will get punished if there's an actual fight breaking out, because she's really reliant on getting at least the BF sword or like any items at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now you can see her falling behind in a bit in that lane. This is especially due to the side that her jungler started on. She couldn't be playing aggressive before that, and also the fact that Overstorms bot lane, they have a very good wave control that is also very consistent throughout the whole split. Every time you pan to the Overstorms bot lane, you can see during their quarterfinals or even their regular splits, you could see them having the wave in their favor, being well positioned compared to the enemy jungler and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And right now, Graves actually behind them while they are pushing in, but you can see
but they are aware of
coming in
this.
as well.
So the fight is happening here, as you can see. The good thing is the Ignite's already down. There's going to be first blood handed over to the Graves. He's going to be happily picking that one up, increasing his scaling even more. So the farming man now picked up the first blood, and there we go. Okay, that's the teleport, but it's the Varus teleport. Don't get confused there. It's not the top laner. He's teleporting to the top lane. So yeah, I was about to say, actually, Varus using that comet there in lane and getting better trades over and over again might give them the edge in this lane, but then, yeah, Graves had different plans in mind.
That was a very good gank by Berkrovsha, because frankly, like the Varus Tankage duo was positioned according to their own jungler, but the thing is that even though Jarvan was pathing his way towards bottom lane, Graves was already on the way by the time that Jarvan actually finished his red buff, and so that's why this gank was successful, because they thought that they were receiving a gank while they were actually the ones to get ganked.
Yeah.
And that's very crucial for the Graves in the early game to be outpacing the Jarvan in his jungle, because he does have the better clear speed, but he doesn't have the better ganking power. So it's really pivotal for him to make a difference on that side, because if he doesn't, Jarvan is going to be finding the edge that we were talking about when going out of the laning phase.
Exactly. Basically, like we already pointed out in the draft, Jarvan is the easier ganking tool here. Meanwhile, Graves is the easier farming tool, but of course, if he has priority, like in this top lane right now, he has priority. He calls off the gank last second, and this will actually manage them to spot Jarvan, but both junglers spotting each other will mean...
Okay, looks like they are going to take the 2v2.
Yeah, they're gonna go to take the 2v2. Malphite wasn't been missing, however, the nice flank back coming through here. And now, remember, Dark Radio has no flash from the previous gank in the early levels, as well as the TP coming through by Azir. And he's alive. No, never mind. TG Flatline here coming in clutch, getting that first kill in the skirmish in the top lane. And now Penguin and Nerf also teleporting in, but he's gonna get Shuma shuffled backwards as Berkoffy also falling. And even Ashe has to flash away from the bottom lane, getting chased there on the other side of the map, as we see now. Jarvan nicely trying to get the knock up, but Echo still has the ultimate available. In the mid lane, we see Garnix now hanging on to dear life, will get taken down with auto tag there, and now Penguin on Earth is all alone. He used the ultimate in the meantime. And he's now
He's in big trouble.
Is this the great escape, or will it be just his demise? But yeah, overall that was a good team fight already. Or a good skirmish for Overstorms. And I don't think that was quite enough. Oh, it was actually. That was clutch. So, good job there by Echo. But so many summoners used. All Thriller bots are on cooldown. And over 4 flashes are used on the teams, on the sides of Overstorms. This is insane. So much has happened in the last 2 minutes. On the bot lane, Ashe died. In the top lane, 3 people died. So much stuff going on.
Yeah, like the bot lane falling off after that play is also the main point that I'm looking towards, actually, because that Varus is going to be finding himself very happy to sit on an additional kill, especially considering that he managed to deny a lot of experience to the Ashe in the meantime with the chase through the river and stuff. So Substar Dogs is actually quite happy with that, with the outcome of that play. And now you also have the Aatrox, who's like sitting on a good spot right now. He does have the double Doran's Blade and Clawfin Hammer. The only thing that's going to be preventing him from going too wild is the fact that he's laying into a Malphite. And now, talking about the Echo, though, we are hitting the time where, you know, the range advantage is starting to get to be a real problem here, because the Azir already has his Lost Chapter available, so his mana sustain is going to be big, and in the lane, that Echo is going to be suffering so much from all of the poke and the trading power of the Azir.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing we haven't touched on is actually, considering it is a Mountain Drake, is the reason we haven't touched on it, because nobody's going to give it attention. It's a Mountain Drake, so not the most favorable first Drakes to take, or like high pressure, you need this Drake, hello. But the good thing is that means there's no Mountain Soul. It's quite a strong soul if you consider the lack of tanks in this game. It would have made them so much more tanky, both lineups here. And as you said, Ashe falling off really hard is an issue when it comes to DPS, but the bigger issue is actually this top lane, I believe.
I also do believe that the Mountain Soul would have been a very good option for Rising Shadow, especially because they do have the Graves. That's one pick that does go with the Death Dance. You also have the Leona that's going to be building quite tanky, and then if you decide to go for the Leona, the utility Leona, built with the Black Cleaver maybe. Then it adds up to her tankiness as well, and you also have the Malphite, of course, who's going to be the biggest benefit of that Drake. But yeah, as you said, right, it's just a regular Mountain Drake, and the thing is that when you stack it individually, it's just not that impactful. So that's why both teams are just completely disregarding it. Also, we were talking about how the Rising Shadow lineup, they really want to play towards the mid game and get something out of it. And by delaying the take of the first Drake to 10 minutes, Overstorms are actually denying that possibility to...
Yeah, we could have, for example, seen already Drake number 2 at this time by Rising Shadows, but yeah, no early game shenanigans happening. And also the top lane matchup, we saw Dark Radio there moving to the mid lane as that play around Drake was happening. So just to preserve, or well, actually just to make use of him not having teleport and still being close to the team fight. But the bigger issue is now Aatrox is ahead. If we have a look at gold, like yes, the CS is close, but he's 200 gold ahead, Aatrox, and he's going to look to soon finish his very important item. And then I believe Malphite is going to have a hard time in that lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you just mentioned the gold, which is a very interesting factor because if you take a look at the gold, actually, you can see that the biggest gold discrepancy in a vacuum is on the AD carries. Like, Ashe is 1,000 gold down at 10 minutes compared to the Varus, and also the Graves is like something like 500, 600 gold up compared to the Jarvan. So that's the result of the power farming that we've mentioned, right?
Exactly.
He does have about 20 CS advantage, but AD carry wise though, that's also the result of the Ashe being locked in so early, and also not being a response to the Varus, but rather a pick that Ganex is comfortable playing, and that his team likes to pilot because of the Crystal Arrow. At this point, you can see that in the mid game, Ashe is just going to be an ult bot.
Yeah, I believe, considering seeing that pick XT, as you mentioned, is literally just going to mean that Ashe is given up on lane. She's not looking to dominate anymore. I mean, the only thing she could have done was early on poke with W and then maybe a good Leona engage. But of course, the Tahm Kench would have negated all of that damage coming in. So yeah, Ashe is completely out of laning phase. She's just looking to scale. As we see a face check by Snades, and the good damage. Actually, the red smite now coming to... Oh, okay, he flashed away Snades there, not risking it for the biscuit, but that was a very dangerous face check by Java.
Yeah, Tahm Kench taking advantage of this to go in and ward a bit deeper, but Malphite goes in hard onto the Varus. Now, Echo is here as well, gets the... almost gets the kill, but he will decide otherwise, actually, not going in too deep.
Now he
like
goes for the... What?
Okay. A bit of a weird thing happening
Yes.
there, so... Penguin on Earth maybe not focusing hard enough on the game, actually wanting a bit more than he can chew. And that means that in the meantime, though, Azir will be able to get a nice plating on that bottom lane, in that middle lane. And Aatrox will get a free recall, as well as making the wave crash under that tower. So overall, that operation is actually in the favor of Overstorms, especially since now that the unstoppable force is down, it's a bit of a downtime for Rising Shadow.
Yeah. I mean, the only good thing was in that whole time, Ashe was freely farming in the bot lane against, I think it was the... Wait, was that Aatrox? Yeah, it was the Aatrox, yeah, exactly. So she was happy just getting her first item out, as you can see there. Still behind the Varus, obviously. He already completed the Sewer to Dirk after his first item, but of course he has a little bit of cheaper items coming too. But yeah, this guy will already hurt in teamfights. Like, Rising Shadows, as I mentioned before, lack of tanks, at least until like the later stages. Leona's not really tanky in early stage. And speaking of Leona, there's the Ashe arrow hitting. Oh no. Good thing the camera stops to the top lane, because that was a big oopsie.
The unseeing observator, you know. Yes,
as Dark Raider now, as I mentioned, with Aatrox getting closer to that first item, just so much more pressing, and Jarvan even coming up here, Snades dropping that Herald, and they're looking to take a lot of plating. No! It's too late! They missed it by 2 seconds! No!
So sad.
That is sad. Bot
lane, though, they do manage to find some kind of engage onto the Tahm Kench, but it's just not enough. That guy is too tanky at this point. Already has a Chain Blast under his belt, though. And now Echo is moving in bot lane for maybe a dive that might be orchestrated on that bottom lane. But the thing is that Tahm Kench still has the Flash and Cleanse available. Though, oh, there you go, the Chains of Corruption. Now Graves is going to be getting onto that Azir. He gets the Shroom Shuffle under the tower, and the Flash will not save his life. What a huge outplay here by Flatline, actually. He is here to save the day for that bottom lane. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was... I mean, Tahm Kench not even ulting forward. He's gonna get in a lot of trouble. Okay, he was now realizing he is frontlining with only 100 to 200 HP. On his end, so yeah, they're gonna take the easier objective, the Drake. He's less scary when you have 5 people. And that was a very good engage by Overstorms once again. It looks like Overstorms had, like, kinda lost focus, but it looks like Rising Shadows is just bringing themselves on the silver platter to them. And they are just saying thank you so much and taking the opportunity.
And like, at first, right, the play looked really good in the favor of Rising Shadow because they were the ones to initiate the play. They were the ones to, you know, try to rotate around the map, orchestrate something, have some kind of team cohesion. But then it all fell down because the main keys the main tools of Overstorms were still up. You know, you still had the Chains of Corruption on the Varus, you still had the Flash on the Tankage, and the Cleans also. You still had, even if Penguin on Earth managed to get the mid lane priority, it's an Azir, right? You can't retain
Exactly.
for too long.
That's the point. It's literally the Azir is the point here, because that's the ticking time bomb. I mean, yes, there's not too many kills, and everybody can have died at this stage of the point. Like Leona is deathless, Azir is deathless, Tankage is deathless, Java, Natrix, and so on. But that's just because it's not a bloody team fighting skirmish, all that shit going on. It's literally just very slow paced. It's very good on the mistakes that are being made. You just capitalize on that and get a free 2 or 1 kills, but that's about it. Like, there's not a lot of kills coming too, and that means Azir is really stacking. He has his Nashor's 2s. I mean, he's only the Stinger, he hasn't completed it, but as well as the Luden's Echo, this guy's gonna hurt, and the mid game is approaching, and an Azir mid game is so deadly.
Yeah, the thing is that even though this this beloved mid game, oh, hold on, because the Echo is coming in on the bot lane, Crystal Arrow will go wide, and there will be a teleport of the Azir in that bot lane to defuse that play.
Yeah, so looks like the teleport was enough, but they are still lingering around. Both teams have good vision coverage. They are seeing if Rising Shadows shall go forward, and it feels like Rising Shadows is forcing so much. There's no objective even to be had in this bottom lane. Like, the only good thing is they have done the last minutes is getting the first tower on the top lane, but that was solely gold to Malphite, so not really helping them when it comes to their carries. Echo would have much more appreciated. Okay, you was actually now doing a bit of a mistake, not suspecting the presence of 5 members in this bot lane, and he will most likely pay for his life. There we go, he goes down to the Echo. Very good pickup here, also good gold income for Echo, who's just looking to get ahead now. And they will manage to pick up most likely the second tier 1 of this game. But on the other side, Aatrox has answered, so this is not the worst trade in history, but it's not looking as a good trade for Overstorms either.
Yeah, now the main thing is that Rising Shadow, they want to repeat that kind of play, but also they want to accelerate what they can get in terms of objective and goals. So this is what we were talking about earlier, right? This is the moment where, even if you factor in the Aatrox into that play, like even if you bring him down from the top side to the bot side and make it a 5v5, this play still happens. Because the amount of hard engage and follow-up damage is just so stacked and easy to execute on the side of Rising Shadows that they can force those team fights in the mid game as much as they want. Now, it's not about whether or not you only manage to trade bot tower for top tower, it's about how hard you can go in on your own side. So if you decide to, for example, walk up to the mid lane and get 2 towers in a row, then you can transform those 2 towers into something, and now the Herald has actually been stolen. Now Jarvan dies inside his Cataclysm, and there you go.
That was
the
the
5-man team.
Sacrificial lamp here. Jarvan trying to die for the hero play, but nobody has picked up the... Okay, they realize now Rising Shadows going back to the pit to pick up DI. But yeah, that was the sacrificing the Jarvan play there just to get the objective, and then they even end up not getting it. So that is very bad for Overstorms here, and they are now in a 4v5 situation with them getting pushed in the mid lane. Echo going forward, nearly stunning the whole team as the Malphite ulti does only hit 1. Innocent's now in a lot of trouble, but they will take down Dark Radio first in this team fight. Now Leona left alone on the other side of the team fight. She's gonna get out thanks to the blast cone, but that was not well coordinated.
Yeah, that's also a miracle that no one dies on the side of Overstorms on that play. I mean, look at the health bars of the Aatrox or the Tankage at this stage, right? They decide to pull the trigger on that play, but the positioning from Ashe and from the Graves as well, and also, like as you mentioned, right, the lack of coordination, a little bit of lack of coordination because the Echo ends up going in a bit late compared to the Malphite and the Leona.
Mm-hmm. And the Leona just completely being on the wrong side of the team fight. There was not great coordination going down as we see them coming up to this Drake, and once again, EOS is just not respecting the numbers here. We saw this a few minutes ago on the bot lane. Now we see it again. He's walking up to get vision, and we understand as a support you have to get the vision, but you cannot walk in without your team backing you up. So already down a member, and now in the 5v4 scenario, this might be the first wave going over to Rising Shadows.
Oh my god, the flashing from the Echo gets in, stuns the backline. Meanwhile, Jarvan with the Cataclysm gets on top of the Graves, will take him down. Now he's left alone with the Ashe, but meanwhile, Aatrox is completely shredding through that backline, flashes in to get the kill on the Echo, will not get it because of the Ashe slow actually, and now Rising Shadows, they are actually finding themselves in a very weird spot. They do want to get the priority on that river, but will not be able to secure it that hard, as there are still both carries of Overstorms still alive at that point.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's a good map. Oh no, he left Varus. No, what are you doing? Oh, US, this is not your day, man. I can tell. Oh, let's hope the series gets better for him, because that was yet another mistake here by the support, just leaving the Varus alone. Varus was like, oh, thanks, buddy, you respawned already. Now you can save me from a Malphite ultimate, for example. He's like, I'm yours, I go in. And there we go. Varus just going down, paying for the misstep here. And yeah, back to the scene of crime. The Drake is still alive, and Dark Raider is dangerously low on HP and has to reset most likely.
Yeah, that final kill on the Varus finally sets the outcome of that team fight, and that means that Rising Shadow will eventually be able to get that Drake.
So we have double TPs coming through here to get nothing. Like Flatline and Varus just coming in here with double TP burn, just to realize, hey, they're already gone. The Drake is gone. Nothing has happened, and now they're trying desperately to push this mid lane tower with only like 2 caster minions. I don't see this one happening.
Yeah, they do not really have a wave now. The new one's coming in. And it's going to be about whether or not Rising Shadow can actually take that one down before the tower falls. Looks like the answer will be no. And Chains of Corruption. Oh!
Okay.
Actually, enough time for the Varus to kill that Echo.
I don't want to be that guy, but there was Echo misstepping, and Dio was making it better for Rising Shadows by picking up the kill. That would have been gold. That would have been really, really good on Varus or Aatrox in this stage of the game. Azir is completely fine already, but Aatrox, or, well, he wasn't there, but Varus, for example, would have loved to get that kill and just to get further ahead.
Aatrox looking for some blown down that bot lane now. Graves will actually find the Jarvan on the side.
Snake's losing 1/3 of HP.
And look at that. It's actually a very big question here that I'm asking for Rising Shadow is, what's your game plan right now? Because for the past like 2 minutes, aside from that Drake, they haven't really done anything and haven't even grouped up. Like, they have been very disbanded throughout the map. And because of that, Overstorms, they just grouped as 5 and took 2 towers seemingly for free on the mid lane, opening up a lot of terrain and making a lot of breathing room for themselves actually. And now they just keep going. Look at that. They are going to be taking down the final tier 1 tower of of Rising Shadows in that bottom lane.
Yeah, so overall towers 42, gold difference is 2k advantage for Overstorms, but that is not that much considering we're 22 minutes into the game. However, if you look at individual gold, that is a different story. In the top lane we have the Aatrox ahead by 1k nearly, as well as in the jungle, Jarvan just falling behind, just filling the wall of the engage tool, not really being the guy that does damage, even though he had a good team fight at the Drake last time around. And the most scary part for me is just Flatline. TG Flatline here on the Overstorm lineup, just pulling ahead so much. He's 2k gold lead ahead onto the Echo, and that just tells me Echo's gonna have a hard time dealing with the Azir if he shall meet him in lane or even in team fights.
Yeah, this guy is sitting on 25% of the gold of his team. He's so fed right now, sitting in a very good spot. He does have the Luden's Echo and the Nautious Tooth completed. So on the next team fight, you have to watch out for him. You also have to watch out for Dark Radio's Bossmate, because if he doesn't manage to lock that Azir in one spot and have his team burst him down, team fights are not going to be hard won. They need to focus these Malphites ultimate around these carries, but the main problem is that then you still have the Town Kench next to them, so you have to look for the best opportunities to actually go in.
And we might just see a team fight. They're both just lingering around, they're both like expecting something. The air is so tense right now, we can feel them. Oh my god. I don't know if you saw that on the edge of your screen there, but As you can see, Garnix now recalling because Varus is starting to hurt.
Yeah, the long-range poke from Varus. Also the Azir that can do some damage into some of the Rising Storm players, Rising Shadow players who want to walk up to the minion wave.
Rising
starts to
Storm,
really
that is
hurt,
a
right?
new way of messing up the team names. You both mixed it. But yeah, Azir and Varus, as you just mentioned, the range advantage is so strong. Like, we realized already in the draft that Echo cannot fall behind and that Graves is just going to look to like be proactive by farming and not by ganking. So definitely very tough position here for Rising Shadows. Even if this score might look close, this is definitely not a close game. So far, Azir and Varus just way too far ahead of the enemy carries.
Yeah, the main problem here is for the Rising Shadow players, because remember, right, I said that in the mid game they would be the kings of the Rift, but the thing is that as time passes, this momentum is going to be fading more and more away, as Azir is packing up some more tools under his belt, as the Aatrox is going to be getting tankier and tankier to take down. He already has Black Cleaver and Death's Dance completed, so that's already a lot of tankiness shoved into his kit. And then you also have like the Jarvan with the full tank build. You know, that guy has the Gargoyle Stone Plates completed. And then the Varus is eventually going to be scaling down a lot, but you know, when paired with the Azir, it makes up for a bit of like added damage, and then you also have the innate utility of the Azir built inside of his kit.
Yeah.
So he's never really going to be useless.
And now we have a next team fight, or at least objective, that will force a team fight. There we see both teams clashing here at the Drake pit. It's the Infernal Drake at question. But first, let's have a look at Bakofi just getting absolutely stomped by the Aatrox, but he's going to get some backup by his team. The team that slays the dragon is the blue team, so Overstorms securing the Fire Drake, as we see a beautiful Azir ultimate nearly, or actually exploding the Echo here, and now Flatline is facing off versus the Leona. This seems to be an unfair matchup, but Ashe is doing its best, and there we go, shutdown here, coming through, but Ashe is also going down. Now Bakofi trying his best here, he's gonna get taken down as well, and Varus might be the hero of this game. It's a 1 versus 1 at the end of the day. Subside Dog versus Dog Radio, and Dog Radio just BMing. Oh no, my friend, I don't think you should have done this, because, oh, is he gonna get it? Nice flash at the end there, and the sad kitty comes out, the emote spam, and that was a clutch one. Dark Radio, yo my man, have balls of steel, because that was the wrong time to BM. But 12 to 11 in kills, that tells you how close that teamfight was. What a game and what a teamfight. Only positive thing from this teamfight, Overstorms got Drake number 3, and are now in a position to take the Fire Soul.
Yeah, and also the Infernal Soul is going to be so huge on that lineup. Like, you have the Varus with the added damage on the poke, you have the Azir also that can proc it really well in teamfights. And then finally, like, it's going to be just a nice damage add up on the Aatrox / Jarvan, especially considering that they do have a lot of ways to access the backline on each of these champions. So eventually, that specific soul is like the best that the Overstorm could have hoped for. But the main question is, Jason.
Yes.
Do you value the mental breakdown that you inflict on the enemy AD carry more or less than a flash?
I mean, speaking from Dark Radio's perspective, Flash is just a cooldown that you can use, and BMing is only a once in a lifetime chance that you get to do in the TG Diamond playoffs, semifinals here. Yeah,
That's some BM.
Yeah, sorry, I had to. But yes, next objective is actually Yoras once again getting caught out here. This is the third time we see this game, and he's gonna lose half of his HP. Now the Grace health is coming in, but on the other side, Dark Radio getting a 3-man knockup. Ashe is now here to do some damage as well. Dark Radio is still alive. He's gonna fall to the tower shot in the end. Azir picking that one up now. Aatrox getting exhausted. Innocence having a hard time, but Garnix is gonna get jumped on by this chance soldiers. Taken down by Flatline, and overall only a 2-for-2. No, never mind, 2-for-1. My excuses. That means Overstorms in a better position right now, but HP bars are so low that they do not chase. Yeah, they just get them off.
on the lookout here for some more kills. It's got to be... Oh, hold on, the Echo looking for one more to round that up. The Jarvan will not...
Oh, he's alive!
End of the line. not available for the Graves to finally secure that kill, and they will have to back away. But Flatline, he's going in for more. Actually gets the kill onto the.
Oh my.
Oh my god! That cleanup from Flatline. That guy completely throwing the balance off of that game, and now it's Overstorms onto that Baron buff.
So before this play that you just saw, it was like, okay, teamfight didn't go either way, it was kinda close, was okay for both teams, let's just back off and reset. Now it is actually Baron time, because that was just the wrong time to come back. You should have reset quickly, maybe leave like the jungler on the map just in case they go for a sneaky Baron, but damn man, Raising Shadows just handing over that Baron buff to Overstorms, and with 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining, they have now the perfect opportunity to push inside lanes, get control of the map, and prepare this final Drake to get the Fire Soul here. This is such a good position for Overstorms.
And Flatline is such a huge clutch player for the Overstorm lineup. This guy, his positioning throughout all this whole team fight, and also the way that he has played around both focuses, because that team fight was fought on two fronts. You know, you had the Ashe with the I think it was the Echo in the mid lane, and then on the small corridor on the side of the tier 1 tower, you had like all of the front lines fighting it off in that small gutter. In that small gutter show. So eventually Flatline managed to actually hold both fronts at the same time, then deal damage, and then going for the final catch, because he just got the Shurima shuffle back. Big play by him on all series of Overstorm.
This is the unluckiest time to throw a Varus ultimate. I don't know. Okay, this was who disconnected again? I forgot already.
So the Echo disconnected and he got spotted.
He is the one. Okay, so I believe this disconnect was prior to the Varus ultimate. Let's see how this one plays out. Yeah. Maybe they're... Actually, let me turn on chat just to see what these guys are discussing now.
This really looks like a to be continued kind of meme, you know?
Yeah, let me just check real quick what they're discussing, because I cannot tap into chat. Why not? Let me chat. Please let me chat. Okay, working.
Chrome break the game, as they say in the...
Not letting me chat, or... Okay, they don't seem to communicate in all chats, so there's no information coming through from both teams. But, maybe now? Okay, so we will get the unpause very soon here, and we shall have a look at what exactly is going on. So Echo got caught out. I believe he got spotted by the cannon minion because the... Yeah, there we go. The teamfight going, oh my god, Leona's already gone, and Penguin on Earth had to use the ultimate early on just to survive, and now yours is the front line, but the double kill already coming through. Flatline's just hurting so much, and now with Innocence joining the teamfight, Dark Radio is kind of left alone because Ash is going down the triple kill, and no quarter kill because yours is here. He's the man, he's the mister, he does step up and end, but he also is here to steal away your quarter kill.
Yeah, oh my god, what a huge wipe. All of a sudden, that teamfight went from 0 to 100 really quick in favor of Overstorms. And Rising Shadow, they took that fight, they thought they could actually try to get something off the back of it, but the only thing they will get is a nice ticket to the game 2, actually.
Yeah, Leona respawning.
Right now.
But, oh my god, yeah. Flatline's just like, no friend. I know you respawn, but back to the gray screen you go. You are not allowed to see your base being killed, and that is not even looking at the Fire Drake here, just realizing immediately after the team fight, hey, we won the game, let's go game 2, Overstorms, confidently heading into that second game. Damn.
Yeah, absolutely not wasting any time, aren't they?
That was a weird way to finish out that game, I must say. Wait, that's the wrong... My apologies. This is the right screen. There you go. Post-game analysis. Okay, you know what I mean. Moving on, we have here, as you can see, Innocence, once again, just so far ahead of Dark Radio at the end of the game there, as well as Flatline, just, oh my god, 5k gold lead over his mid laner, the Echo. And if we look at the graphs now, we will just see this damage coming through so high on Varus and Flatline, as he just... Having this team would be a bit too much to boost his ego, but he definitely did his bits. He had perfect sense-holder positioning in most team fights. Got a lot of solo kills, got a lot of shuffles that were so clutch and so important in those close team fights at the beginning of the game. So, yeah, game 1, not the best performance from Overstorm's 5-man lineup, but they clutch it in the end and do play it out well in the end there by taking control. And Rising Shadows just giving up the game kind of by doing repeatedly the same mistakes of taking bad team fights. But yeah. Sherlock, anything to add before we head into small break?
Yeah, actually, I agree with you a lot on what you said. The thing is that this game didn't even look like it wasn't close. You know, I feel like Rising Shadow at some point were in control of the game, and as you mentioned, right, it's their lack of it's their lack of a better approach at how they want team fights to be played and how should their focus be, and also the way that they are committing to these fights that really hammered the nail in the coffin for them on that game one. Because when you looked around at like the 15-minute mark or
Yeah.
something, they were actually in a position where they could lead the game, take the game in their own hands, and start to dictate the tempo of that game with the Malphite ultimates and the amount of follow-up CC that they had. Echo even did land a couple of good stuns, and I do not believe that this game was lost because one team was like just out way better than the other. I do believe that this game was more lost because individual mistakes and maybe a lack of communication on one side.
Like even not even like but also like the what is it called, the disrespect. Like you saw, he was often walking up. Like he only died 3 times in the end, which is surprising by the amount of him stepping up to the enemy. But yeah, those were 3 times he just walked up alone, not waiting for his teammate and for his team. And on the other side, we just had the Rising Shadows lineup just being completely split up. And I think if you have an Echo, Leona, Malphite, you want to go for 5-mans and hit as many people as possible with your ultimates. But yeah, didn't work with the pick-off composition from the Ash Arrow and all of that good stuff and the farming jungler. Was not too bad either, but yeah, Overstorms just completely winning this game there in the end. If you look at XP and gold, they were too far ahead for Rising Shadows to have been doing much in the later stage of the game. But yeah, let's rest our voices, get some snacks, get some drinks, because this seems to be a long game, my friends. A long series coming our way, because Rising Shadows definitely is not happy with what they have seen so far, and they will come back stronger, I believe. So let's head into a small break of exactly 2 minutes. We're talking so much. And then we will be back with you boys very, very shortly for game number 2 between Rising Shadows and Overstorm.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
And there we go. Welcome back, everybody. Oh my god, tongue twister at the start. But yeah, game number 2 coming your way. It's the TG Diamond League. It's the TG Diamond playoffs, actually, semifinals between Rising Shadows, of course, and Overstorms. Rising Shadows now being a bit upset about the last game, looking to redeem themselves in this next game number 2, where they are indeed on the blue side. And we are about to be ready for the virtual draft coming your way. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the standings real quick, just so you guys know what is going on. So moving over for the standings. We do see that, for example, the second semifinals, I believe that one is on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
tomorrow
Saturday.
at 1 p.m. I believe.
Yeah,
something
Saturday
like that.
in the afternoon, we will have the second semifinals coming to servers. Esports is there, facing off against Medieval Esports, and whoever wins that shall proceed to the winner of today, actually, in the finals. And as I said previously, this is the ticket, this is the important part, this is the breaking point in the playoffs. If you make it this far, you better go all the way, because that means you get at least some pricing, even if you lose in the finals. But yeah, so looking at Rising Shadows and Overstorms now switching side, as I said, Rising Shadows coming in for the blue side. We do have them now trying their best to at least take back at least one game. I think tying the series this early on will be very, very huge when it comes to mental. And I'm sure we will see different team lineups. Like, we will not see DSE go to again, and we will most definitely not see yet another Echo being picked up.
And the thing is that you really have to wonder what kind of adaptation will Rising Shadow go for, because you've targeted your bans towards the enemy mid laner on the red side, so you know you had everything that you needed in order to draft properly around not letting Flatline get an advantage. And yet the main problem that you're facing yourself with at the end of game 1 is that Flatline has been doing clutch moves after clutch moves, and that you couldn't shut down the Azir and prevent it from getting online eventually. So now that you're finding yourself on the blue side, which is a side that is much weaker when it comes to building against a team comp.
This is interesting. Sorry to interrupt you there, but they still go for the Cassiopeia. Okay, now it's DSE. Okay. I was worried that Rising Shadows did not watch game 1 because they just left the Z open, but now with Azir being taken off the table, that's definitely okay, showing the respect to the previous game. Sorry, go ahead with your analysis and flattening Flatline. I just got worried there.
Yeah, so you have to really wonder how exactly can you shut down Flatline on the blue side, especially considering that now Orianna is left open. And you do know that Overstorms will be quite happy with picking red 1, red 2 Jarvan Orianna.
Exactly. We've seen it so many times from them, and it will be the same as you're probably going to say the same thing as the Azir, because it's just such a strong mid-game to late-game pick.
And the way that Flatline plays that pick, especially, you know, like the moment that you give him an advantage, he knows by heart the damage that this Orianna can do. And so the moment that he knows he can kill you, he's gonna do it. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So you need to find a pick mid lane that not only can hold any sort of pick, but also a pick that doesn't tend to fall behind that much in the early game, and that has a nice scaling. Now, the main pick that comes to my mind when I describe such a toolkit would be the Morgana mid lane, for example. But if you're looking towards more traditional mid laners, I would say that the Syndra, for example, would be a really good pick. There you go. And you also have the potential of flexing it down the bot lane as well.
So I like the Syndra pick, I'm not gonna lie. I think Shadows is already showing a bit more. Hey, we want to contest this mid lane. We know Flatline is a great player and all, but like, let's put him in an uncomfortable spot, because Syndra has an assassin kind of, due to the burst damage she can pull out, and she's a very good like solo laner. So in terms of like laning phase, she will have good setup for gank potential, so even your jungle doesn't need to have CC anymore now. You will have always a one-shot guaranteed pretty much on like squishy carries and stuff like this. So if played correctly, this could be the pick we have been looking for. But then again, it's a flex pick, so Garnex could also be looking towards playing that Syndra in the bottom lane as an AP carry.
Yeah, and also, you know, Syndra is in a very powerful spot right now in the meta where there is no hard counter to Syndra, only matchups that are not super favorable into her. So obviously locking that in makes you already very comfortable, and you still have the flex potential with AD carry, so you still have time to think about your lineup a bit more, saying, okay, maybe we can work out something else instead. And so Overstorms, they are locking in the Ezreal right away, rather than getting the Orianna, because there's already the Syndra on the side of Rising Shadows. So they know that if they were to pick it up as well, it would mean that the AD threat would have to come from either like the top lane or the jungle position, where it's not as effective as having at least one out of your mid laner and bot laner to have 80 damage. So they feel comfortable snatching away the Ezreal and then maybe keeping the Orianna pick to the red 3 position.
Okay, so this Camille hover is actually, and lock-in is actually making me a bit worried here, because Rising Shadows is already showing 2 solo lanes, and Overstorms just comfortably picked something that is like flexible in a way of that they can build the composition around it in any way they like. They can make this an aggressive comp, a passive comp, a scaling comp. They can pretty much do everything with Ezreal, Jarvan. And Rising Shadows just showing their hand here is so risky, in my opinion. Like, you're just giving away what you're going for, and it's yet again, it's the aggressive thing. Like, it's like last game round. It is an aggressive Leona. It was last time. Sorry, it was last time round. An aggressive Leona. It was an aggressive Malphite. It was an aggressive Echo. Like, you're just showing confidence, but you haven't backed up your words with action yet.
Absolutely, and now also Overstorms, they still have a lot of tools up their sleeves to respond to that kind of, of team composition. You still have the Orianna that you can pick. You still have the Yuumi that's available in the support position as well.
Even a Tahm Kench to save you from Camille. Yeah. Like, so many options to deny these 2 picks already.
So that's really surprising, as you said, by Rising Shadow. I would almost expect that Camille to go somewhere else in the composition, but it's really not that. It's really not that good anywhere else. The top lane right now. So I do guess that.
Sorry, I'm really trying to give Rising Shadow some credit here, but
that Echo pick again, man.
Yeah, I don't want to flame too much, so I'm just gonna let it go, but yes. Overstorm's now in perfect position to pick the Orianna, I'm predicting it, and if they don't pick it now and it will go to the second ban phase, even better for them, but yes, they are just already in control.
Now you have to ask yourself, right?
There it is.
Is this Echo going to be going jungle or mid lane? Because you still have the option of sending the Syndra down the bot lane, you know that it's an Ezreal bot. If it does end up being a Yuumi or Lulu paired with that Ezreal, Syndra might be able to burst someone down if she is paired with a support with enough damage, something like the Nautilus, I would say. But then again, right, you're finding yourself in quite a strange spot having that Echo and Syndra paired with the Camille, especially considering that right now you're not facing the same comp as before, right? Like game 1, you had the Azir in the mid lane. That's a pick which is really powerful at shoving back enemy teams that go into him. Right now you have a Jarvan Orianna. That's a team composition that's going to go into your backline to deal damage. And this time around, though, Camille, Syndra, that's not a lot of disengage, right? Sure, you have the scatter of the weak, but that's about it. So there's not really much you can do for now, and you still have the support position and whatever is left for them to pick to get some like disengage in that team comp.
Yeah, and now these 2 bans coming through by Overstorms are completely BM, in my opinion. They're just banning the Ashe Grace, knowing they already won kind of the first half of the draft. They don't have to ban these champions at all, because they will not fit into Rising Shadow's composition right now. Maybe the Ashe, but that would have been not the best pick against... And oh my god, they're punishing so hard right now. I kind of feel bad already for Rising Shadows. If they get ahead early on, Rising Shadows, I take back everything I said. Don't worry, because then Rising Shadows is in a really good position, because they have 3 champions that are just super good when they are ahead. But if
Yeah.
they don't get any lead, the game is over by them the second it reaches 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is basically going to be a really hard match for Rising Shadow. And it shows a lot in that Game 2 draft, right? They are picking a type of composition where, as you said, right, if you have all of the snowball potential in the world, you have some of the best champions at accelerating a lead in the game, and yet you didn't show anything in the early game of Game 1 that proved to us that you have what it takes to create a lead early on. And now with the set and Senna being locked in, so the set comes up naturally when you look at the rest of the composition, right? Because you have kind of the same identity with the set as you have with the Camille, the Echo, the Syndra, those picks that are really strong mid game, that are that want to snowball, want to accelerate. But on the other hand, though, the Senna strikes me as a very weird pick here on the side of Rising Shadow, because it doesn't really fit in the rest of that lineup. It doesn't really fit with also regarding the rest of the enemy team comp when you have Jarvan or Rihanna. Like, you do not have tools to escape that kind of all-in. You do not have tools to...
I mean...
like, that Lulu pick, that Lulu last pick, you knew it was coming up. So that's really weird to me.
The Lulu is just the answer to Rising Shadow's aggression here. Like, you have this Feasting Senna coming in. Most likely, I would say this is Syndra or Set support. Either one of these two would be fitting here. I cannot think Camille support is still a thing. And yeah, let me just give the guys the ready in the lobby so they can start the champion selection. But oh, I need to open betting as well. 1 sec. Okay, there we go. Let me now continue my sentence. Yeah, so seeing this virtual draft here being completed, I really hope Rising Shadows get some kind of lead early on. Overstorms are just gonna do some bad plays, because otherwise I'm very doubtful that Rising Shadows has a better draft here. At least when it comes to execution and team fights.
So what can actually happen here is something that would be really interesting. Is if Rising Shadows, they do send the Syndra in the bottom lane, having us having the Senna go support and do a fasting Senna with Syndra and Senna in that bottom lane. That would be really interesting. And then have like Set jungle and Echo mid, or they can swap the two around. If they do end up doing this, then I would give them maybe some sort of like regency in the early game, and also the potential to get well into the mid game. But by the way the picks are locked in the lobby, I do not believe that this is what we're going to see. So I am disappointed, obviously. But yeah, as we mentioned before, right, Overstorms is now finding themselves with not only one more win in the series, but also a lot of confidence, a lot of mental boost going into the Game 2 draft. And that's why you're finding yourself with such a solid composition on the side of Overstorm, and a composition on the side of Rising Shadows that screams to you insecurity. You know, you're like, that they are being pressured in this series just by the way the draft is going, where you have like over-aggression, especially considering like I'm not talking about the picks specifically, but rather the timing at the picks, at where the picks were locked in the draft. You know, like the very early Camille, the Echo being locked in.
Yeah, exactly. That is my biggest issue here. Like, I don't mind your composition, Rising Shadows, at all. Like, the draft is not super bad, but it's also not very favoring your side here. But the issue is just, why do you reveal your hand so early on? Yes, Syndra was a flex pick. Yes, Camille could be a potential flex pick, but I don't see why you give Overstorm such an easy way of getting their comfortable playstyle, their comfortable champions. Orianna is a comfortable champion, Jarvan is as well. Ezreal Lulu is not the most common matchup in lane, but Ezreal is just such a safe champion in the lane. You're just basically handing them like, hey, you want to look at us taking game number 2 here, Rising Shadows? well, we just gotta play it safe, you know? Play Ezreal, play Orianna, play Lulu, play Jarvan, don't die. Like, the Akali is the only ballsy move Overstorms has done in this draft.
And like this time around, just judging by like how easier the I'm gonna collect myself.
Yes.
The previous game, right? Their composition was sure not that simple to execute, but at least you had like that surefire way of starting your team fights with the unstoppable force from Malphite.
Yeah,
So,
you had the way of getting in. You had something.
yeah. You had that little red thread that you just had to follow to execute on those team fights. But this time around, which thread do you actually follow? Whose job is it to engage these team fights? How exactly are you going to be playing team fights? Or maybe you are not planning to play these team fights. Maybe you are planning on sending the Camille permanently on a side lane and have her split push her way through the enemy nexus. But then you still have to think about the Jarvan Orianna duo that was locked in from the get-go of that draft. The moment Jarvan came in on the side of Overstorm, you knew that Orianna would be coming in Red 3. The moment that Israel is locked in, you absolutely know that it's going to be a Yuumi in Red 4 or Red 5. You ban away Yuumi, you know it's going to be Lulu. So you have to prepare responses to these kinds of picks. And yet you don't. So you're finding yourself with a draft that is so much harder to execute compared to the last game. You need something in that game. So either you lock in some of your comfort picks, or you do lock in draft that is easier for you to play. And this time around, I don't feel it's either case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm trying to be positive here and like to not foreshadow this game. For Rising Shadows, what a wordplay there! Oh my god! But yeah, I would have loved for them to flex the Syndra into the bot lane and pick something completely punishable to the Orianna and completely punishable to the Jarvan, and then the Camille is the only thing I cannot get behind at all. Everything else, I say, there's a chance to flex it around. Also, going for the Feasting Senna, when you know your enemy team already has an Orianna, it's just... Senna is not meant to be like a Vayne that does insane outplays. She's literally just gonna do slow damage in team fights, heal your team, keep it beefy and healthy, and do good damage, not get killed instantly. But it's an Orianna, man, and there's a Jarvan and a Akali. They're gonna just destroy Senna before she even gets out her 5th auto attack in a team fight.
Like, Senna's just gonna be sitting back, trying to like trick-shot enemy squishies. But the main problem is that, as you've said, right, Jarvan Orianna, then you also have the long range of Ezreal and the Akali.
Yeah, that's just
a lot
too
of
much.
backline access. Yeah.
There's no Tahm Kench to save you this time around, man. Even if Tahm Kench last time around was basically just you as running in to get a ward and then die for it. But yeah, this time around there's no Tahm Kench on either side. So yeah, let's see the sets. Maybe in the bottom lane, we haven't touched too much on the bottom lane matchup. The set Senna is not that bad considering, but Ezreal Lulu just has so much poke.
Yeah. So the thing that you have to take to factor in now that we are into the loading screen will be the itemization, and also like just general team cohesion is what's going to be saving Rising Shadows on this game. And so from the get-go, what you can notice is the grasp of Senna. So she's going to definitely be going for the Frozen Mallet build. She will not be that as much squishy as she's initially supposed to be, but then again, right, from the tremendous amount of damage that we've been discussing earlier on, this is not going to be saving her from all of these threats, the Akali, Jarvan, Orianna, yada yada. The main thing now is that Senna going for that kind of build changes a bit her role in that comp. Right, you have Syndra, you have Echo, you have also the Camille, and Set that naturally has a bit of damage built into his kit. So Senna in this game is actually just no more than a distraction with utility.
Exactly.
That's all she is.
I mean, she has this new build where she goes like the slow path and the HP and blah 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 and yada yada yada. You know the drill. But I just don't feel Senna was what she should have picked here. Like there was so much more open. Like they didn't even focus onto AD carry bans. But yeah, now Overstorms here leading this series with 1-0. 1-0, and we get into the game, onto the Rift. They're about to be released from the fountain here, and we see a lot of pings already coming through from Rising Shadows here onto this top lane. And oh, we might see Overstorms also grouping. Okay, they're not grouping. Overstorms going for the standard 5-man. And if I remember correctly, this is the same thing they have done in game number 1, Rising Shadows. Just on the opposite map. And there we go. Akali is just like, hello, boys. Pleasure to meet you. And there we go. Once again, the opportunity for deep wards. Let's have a look at them. Luro's like... Okay, they're a bit more hesitant considering they did not see all 5 players of the Rising Shadows lineup. But they are moving in now. And Jarvan already placed the ward. He's going back for the Red Trinket. The usual stuff here in the Diamond League. All of these guys know to do.
Players are being really wary in that bottom side jungle.
Ooh, this might even be cheeky. They might even get a... Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Burkov here is in so much trouble. And there we go. That's for sure going to be him having the hardest time in the jungle. Echo's already one of these champions that is not happy to start of a bad leash. And yeah, okay. So both junglers starting on the bottom side, but that was not very smart.
Yeah, 1 potion charge, which you can bet now that he's going to be receiving a very generous lead from his bot lane to help him out, because that's going to be a real no-no for the game if it's not the case.
Yeah. I'm actually not sure on this matchup in the top lane. I believe Akali is a good lane bully, but Camille has an outplay potential due to her mobility and ability of dodging, for example, a lot of the damage thrown at her. Since Akali is an assassin, Camille is like such a good tool to avoid damage. So we will have a closer look at that lane to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, the thing with Akali Camille is that, sure, Akali is a very good lane bully, but the thing is that Camille, she needs to get, like, the main point of Camille is how you manage your wave in very early levels. I'm talking 1, 2, and 3. Because if you do manage to get your levels before your opponent, you're gonna bully the hell out of him in the first few levels.
Oh no.
Bit of aggression here on the bottom side of the
it's
lane.
not good. Like, this was initiated by Rising Shadows, and you see how hard they lose this trade just because Senna is not pulling out damage early on, and Zed is just getting outranged.
Yeah.
I'm so sad for this bot lane.
Have the sustain.
You do see an invade here by Snades. He's gonna get found by Dark Radio, but he's just gonna drag and drag out of there, so no flash or summoner spell used at all. And yeah, now we see another aggression, however, in the top lane. Innocent's now looking to punish Dark Radio, and oh, he does not get the flash knockup, but they do find themselves at low HP bars, all 4 of them, and they just call it off. 2 flashes blown. Camille now flashless, and Jarvan as well. Means Jarvan has to be careful when ganking, but also means Camille has a very big deficit in the top lane, as we have Garnix with a connection issue, and he's back into the game. Yeah, man, I've never seen a lane where I would say that Ezreal is right off the bat favorites. Like, he's the guy that builds the tier and just sits in lane waiting for like maybe a Sheen or like Trinity like to come online. But right now he's just, I'm already here, boy. I'm a complete champion already. And that has just never happened ever.
I mean, Ezreal is like such a strong pick just because of his blink already. Just the raw ability of having a flash built on your kit makes so much when you play the role of AD carry, because then that means your support is able to roam. That means you have a lot of agency on your own in that bottom lane. Your team doesn't need to play around you, so it opens up a lot, especially when you have like stuff like Akali or Rihanna, some picks that are very needy in terms of jungle attention. And so having that Ezreal, especially paired with like a very safe support like Lulu, it means that your lane is basically going to be self-sufficient. And the pick on its own, like you mentioned, right, has so much itemization possibilities in terms of like sub-components that he can basically itemize against any possible matchup. And now we're back into the game. Look at how much damage that set is tanking. Holy moly.
Yeah. Akali gets hard skilled. I have to disagree so hard on this one. Akali gets hard skilled if the enemy had actually teamfighting composition, and they do not. She will be happy to assassinate all of these squishy targets.
Yeah, the thing with Akali is that once you get her going, she's amazing. But in the meantime, though, she's gonna have a hard time. You can see that right there, the waves crashing under the tower. Camille looks like she's quite happy with that. She might be able to get a cheater recall off of it, though. Decides not to.
And
now,
again, just another good dodge, and this is exactly what I meant. Yeah. And Dark Vader is going to fall, he's going to be the first blood. I can see this one happening. There we go, first blood coming too, and this already answers me all of the Twitch chat questions. Camille will not even get to the third item by the time the game is over.
Yeah. That's really bad for Rising Shadows, because once Camille falls below, we've talked about this in the draft, right? It's one of the picks that that either snowballs the hell out of her opponent, or just falls behind and kind of never gets back. Now, Jarvan going in the mid lane. Flash will save Penguin on Earth's life, and he will be able to walk away. But yeah, as we were saying, right, Camille is bad when she tends to fall behind, and against Akali that has a lot of snowball potential, she's just going to be suffering from now on.
Yeah. Now we do see, however, on this bottom lane already, Ezreal having the pickaxe, so he's going even super aggressive, skipping that tier, just knowing he has lane pressure. And oh, Snace is here for yet another gank, and oh, Garnix, he's gonna survive at the skin of his teeth. That was so close. Both summoners used Flash Heal out, and that was a good gank here by Snace, just putting on the pressure.
And now you're finding yourself with yet another problem, because these repeat ganks are so easy to pull off against the likes of Senna and Set. You do not have a lot, there's not a lot that you can do to prevent those ganks from Jarvan, because he's such a good ganker, and you do not have anything that can prevent him from going in. Now, speaking of going in, Akali just hit her 6, so perfect execution might come in. The hookshot will be barely enough to save the Camille's life, actually, and she will be getting away at a sliver of health. Now Flatline also trying to pressure that matchup against the Syndra will actually be able to hold her quite well in that mid lane.
We do see Jarvan, sorry, Dieko now finally paying his first visit to the bot lane as the Predator is walked. There was a Predator of the Omnistone set. That kind of gave it away, I feel like. But maybe they will still step up, and Aquatia is dangerously low here in HP.
Yeah, that's really bad. If you cannot actually snowball off of a Conqueror proc, off of a
oh no!
Predator.
Oh
hold
no!
on.
In a sense, okay, he's gonna get out, so he didn't damage him because of the shield. But that was very close. Okay, now maybe this is Echo spending so much time down here. If this does not result in him at least getting a summoner spell, it's just so much waste of time. And now Jarvan's gonna get spotted on this top side. Yeah, and that will force the hooks. Yeah, there you go. Camille just forced off the wave.
Yeah, now he will just be buying maybe a reset to her Akali, who's sitting on 900 gold right now, so she can have a Vampiric Scepter in her kit and start to be a bit more autonomous in that top lane. And Jarvan might be beginning to pay a lot more attention to that bot lane, actually. And because he has been spotted on the top side of the map, that means Syndra, who naturally has the pressure against the Orianna, will be able to roam down the river, secure that early Ocean Drake in the favor of Overstorms, of Rising Shadows.
I think Shadow's at least getting something done in the early game here. And because you're wasting so much time now finally pays out. Jarvan is, like we said already earlier, not a heavy farmer. He's gonna get a blue buff as a kind of redemption for that objective going over. And oh no. Okay, so Dark Radio already using his mobility, and Akali using his first activation of the ultimate, and yeah, there we go. Dodges the first damage. Snates flashes away, but there we go. Easy pickup. Innocent is just taking that kill, and yeah, predictions come true once again.
And that's really strange to me because Dawn of Shadow from Senna was available and could have turned around could have tried to turn around that move actually and maybe save the Camille's life. But they decided to keep it for maybe a more important target in their lineup. You can see now 4 members of Rising Shadow are starting to gather towards that bottom lane. Now Israel, oh
Okay,
my god,
wow.
the flash!
Not quite sure what she have in mind here, but this is gonna go so bad. You're so lucky Snates does not have ultimate to lock you both under the tower there. But yeah, 4 members at the bottom lane here. Rising Shadow is at least trying to be proactive, but that is not the way.
For their sake, they do get some bot lane summon spells out of this play. Actually, just the
True.
most of.
But they use the flash on the
Sunset
set as well as the exhaust, and I don't know, the echo flash. So that was a lot of engage tools used to get in the end just like 1 flash from the Ezreal and a heal from the Lulu. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not like fundamentally right. It's not that bad of a play. It's just that you have to capitalize on it, right? You have to take advantage that the enemy bot lane doesn't have any summon spells anymore. There's only the flash from Lulu that's just available. So, considering that your set is playing with a Hex Flash, you should be trying to repeat that kind of dive, right? It's only so hard to do because of the amount of vision that Overstorms have established on their bottom side. If you take a look at the line of vision in the river on the bot side of the map, there's just literally no way for a member of Rising Shadow to sneak into the bot side jungle quarter of the map.
See already actually, if we have a look here, CS numbers already in the top lane, 20 CS down. In the bottom lane, of course, Set is having a hard time farming since it's feasting Senna. You can look to go aggressive onto Ezreal, but don't forget Ezreal has a I can shift away.
That's what I call a love tap now.
Yep. And if you look at gold differences in individual matchups, we just already see the 2k gold difference in the top lane. This one's gonna hurt later on. As well as in the mid lane, a nice little gold lead of like 100 gold your way Oriana, as well as in the bot lane, we do have the Ezreal being ahead for now.
Yeah, bot lane also, the Echo is going to come lane gank. Now top lane though, the Camille will just hookshot away for her life.
Yeah.
You can see also in the river top side of the map, Jarvan might be paying a little visit to the Herald, gets it, and now walks up to the top lane for the dive maybe. Akali does have her perfect execution, so we could see a bit of action going on.
Nate is also spotted as we see yet another flash in the bottom lane, so US is gonna flash away from this aggression, and now Snades is...
What are you doing, Snades?
Yeah, he could have killed Camille there, he just didn't react. Okay.
Damn,
Okay.
the connections are getting more and more disturbing, right?
Yeah, so Snade's dying there for free, and Darkwader baiting so hard, but he's baiting the wrong way as we see another dive on the bot lane, and this time around he's gonna get at least 1 kill, and oh my god, Garnex is gonna survive again on so low HP, but Ezreal is doing his best here to keep the wave away from the tower, to not get towered over once again. But the real danger here is Flatline. Flatline just getting this third plating here in the mid lane, uncontested. He's so far ahead now.
Yeah, he does have a bit of CS advantage. He does also, as you mentioned, have the plates. And right now, this is one of the very rare timing at which Overstorms actually have the pressure around the map because of the mid lane reset timings.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now we can see Syndra making her way to the top lane, Camille going to the mid lane, but that means you are actually conceding one of the few lanes that didn't have the pressure.
They have the Herald, it just spawned in the mid lane. We will have a look at it once Pegun on F has died to Innocence here. There we go, he's gonna get that kill, and then we've seen mid lane, beautiful Oriana onto Bekov here. Bekov is gonna get out of this one, but the tower tier 1 is not gonna do. Oh, never mind, US is here to pixie you away into another realm. And yeah, this mid lane tower was so low because Rising Shadow spent so much time in this bottom lane with multiple members. Oriana chunk 3 platings away. They even get the full tower in the top lane, yet another 2 platings falling, getting the Drake. It's just overall Overstorms steamwalling and getting online.
Yeah, right now there's there's absolutely nothing that could hint at Rising Shadow getting back into that game. Camille will not have the damage to actually kill off that Akali.
Like, wait, if he had the ultimate there, he would have had a free kill because Innocence was greeding way too much for that plating. He might still go for it. He has the damage reset from the tower with his ultimate, and this is...
Akali does have perfect execution though.
Yes, and it might be enough if the shield gets procced, and it is! Innocence just dominating the top lane with a 5-0 over to a 0-4 Camille.
And on the side of Dog Radio, you still have to wonder what's going on right now. You know you are down a lot of gold. You know that no matter what's going to happen, she's going to be trading you in, and yet you keep trying to make plays. You keep not conceding, and it costs your team so much more. And now Jarvan flashing away from the face breaker.
Yeah.
Barely escaping there.
Once again, top lane 40 CS down. I don't even want to look at the gold in the top lane matchup. And the mid lane 20 CS down. And in the bot lane, Azul is just surviving and scaling. Okay, let's show it to the stream at least. As they just have a little bit of love taps in the river here. But yes, that is 3k gold difference at 15 minutes into the game. That is a complete item that is separating these two top laners. And for anyone saying in Twitch chat, Camille will be better late game, Camille will not even reach the late game in this game by this stance.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do hit the 40-minute mark in that game, she's only going to be sitting on like 2 items or something. So this argument is yes, completely irrelevant. Now, Seth trying to rush in and capitalize on the Predator that he got from the Omnistone, but he just doesn't have any way of following up. Now, Camille getting caught by the Shockwave. And then the Flag and Drag will secure that kill, Flatline finding himself with his first kill of the game.
Yeah. So even bot lane is now comfortable. Like, Ezreal has managed to pick up the Mana Mune, and there we see an engage happening on the bot lane. Actually, Burkov trying his damnedest to get in. There's a beautiful flash by the set. He's at least going to get the Lulu ultimate, and he's going to go down. He's going to pay with his life for that engage. Oh no.
And this is really the nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you are committing super hard, trying to get one thing back into this game, one kill at least, using a lot of your tools, but it's just not enough, right? You do not have any power spike that you can rely on to. The Senna doesn't have a complete item. The Camille doesn't have a completed item. There's nothing you can really try to make 100% kill out of misposition.
Oh no. Dark Radio. Yeah. I know your friends are coming. Like Syndra's here to back you up, but you might get... Oh, that was so close! And he's alive! No, he's gonna get out in the end there. Orianna comes in to get yet another kill, but that's a shutdown onto the Syndra at least. She got some gold for it, but Rekofia now also dying. That's just... Okay, I think we are done talking about this game. This is pretty much decided. So the bigger question for me at hand here is, what do you do now for Rising Shadows? Because you have 2 very bad upcoming events for you. The first event being you are now 0-2 in a best of 5 series, meaning the next game is a match point already. You have to win that game no matter what. Second event coming up your way is mentally this game is breaking. Like last game they were at least fighting. It was kind of close, you know, like it was back and forth. Overstorms just had in the end the better execution on a lot of plays, and that's why they won that game. But now you're just falling apart. Like you put 4 members on the bot lane, don't get a single kill. You try to fight over and over again, you get killed by an Orianna, as you just see here. It's just nothing is working so far. Rising Shadows have to mentally... Oh my god.
Holy moly.
I don't even know what to say about this anymore. Like Flatline is just... He has no mana and he's still winning somehow. Like...
Yeah.
Oh, even the back. Oh my.
Doesn't come off. Yikes, man.
Yeah, okay. 3-13, 7k gold leads. It's an Infernal game as well, so Infernal Soul coming your way, if we even get to see the Soul this time round.
I would have loved to talk about something else about the news maybe, but the thing is that these days the news are just
Yeah,
way
depressing as
worse
well.
than this game. So
And we talked yesterday about politics on the TG Platinum.
Oh, yeah?
League. So we talked about memes, which is basically the same as the US politics. So that's the same thing. But yeah, Infernal Drake here at hand. He's gonna get picked up uncontestedly. We have not a single tower touched here. We can actually go over and have a look at top lane tower is nearly full HP, mid lane tower is nearly full HP, bot lane tower took 1/3 HP gone, but that is all. That is all that has been done of damage to these outer turrets. And Rising Shadows, man, if this game goes 65 minutes, you have a chance. If not, I don't see you winning this game at all.
yeah, so as you said, right, this game is irrelevant. So let's talk a bit about a wider topic. The main thing that you have to factor in when you talk about amateur play is the mental. Because a lot of when you are a pro player, you know, it's very easy to maintain your mental throughout a bad series. Because you are a professional, you are paid for that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry, I cannot focus on our conversation if I see Seth missing everything. Camille getting aggressive on Lulu's support when she has not a single item complete on the 0-8, and Ezreal ulting backwards. What is this game? Oh my, and then I cannot. This is mentally breaking me instead of Rising Shadows.
Look at that, Jarvan is just going into the backline completely free. Yo. So yeah, as we were saying right now, the mental health it's kind of easy to maintain when you're a pro player because you are paid. It is a paid job that you're doing. So even when you are fighting on the losing side of a game, you're not tilting off the face of the earth because you feel like you're wasting your time. You're not tilting because you feel like you're getting bad. Because you have time. You have
is Dark Vader trying to get double-digit death numbers, or what is going on? Like, what is happening?
I have no idea.
Oh my god. But yes, I agree with you. If you're a paid professional player in the esports scene, losing games does not hurt as much. You still get your paycheck at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's more about honor and reputation.
Yeah, like most importantly, inside of a series. And the thing is that when you're down 0-2, and you know you have a training that you did, and you know you have like the team cohesion and all of the work, the coach behind you, you're not pressured, right? You're not panicking. You're not feeling like, wow, we are unprepared, we can't deal with them. But when you are in an amateur team, right? Well, first of all, some people might be tilting even in a best of one.
Yes.
Some people might get tilted in solo queue or whatnot, in practice even, just because of like the way they are thinking, the way their relationship with the game is planned. So you might be tilting. But aside from that, if whenever you are whenever you are finding yourselves on the losing end of a series, you start to feel pressured, especially in playoffs. And so, when you are in this position, like you do not have like amazing, crazy pocket picks. You do not have huge mechanics that you can play around, and you're finding yourself with nothing on the losing end. And at this point, you start wondering, wow.
Yeah, okay, Dark Vader is trolling. I'm sorry, he is trolling.
I mean, at this stage, right, there's nothing much left to do for them, anyway.
Yeah, I would have FF'd this game 7 minutes ago. But yeah, speaking of mental health and all that stuff, we have I can just follow up on what you have been saying. We have our partners actually, gscience.io, if you want to visit their website. I posted a link in the Twitch chat. They are actually considering, they're working in the area of esports health, and they're partnered with us, so make sure to head over, and we have some discounts as well for you if you check out our advertisement channel on Discord. You will see on how to utilize that. But yes, they're focusing on mental health, and we see here the game actually coming to an end finally. This is not only Twitch chat and caster suffering, but also Rising Shadows suffering, and the last stand here will just not even give them one kill here. Flatten will survive, and that is game number 2 going over to Overstorms, as expected, sadly.
And now it's time to finally conclude that series by starting the game 3. What am I even saying? I mean, let's be honest and like
let's be positive about what could be happening here. This could be the beginning of something great. This could be the reverse sweep coming in here. Mentally, you just have to go for reset now with your Rising Shadows. Just think of, hey, okay, this has not been working for us. Revealing our hand early on in the draft has not been working for us. Let's conceal our picks until the second rotation. Let's pick maybe something that breaks the usual Overstorms composition instead of banning straight up how do you call it? Instead of going for straight up, hey, we want to play Camel top, let's ban something that counters it. Like, don't go for that style. Maybe just go for a style that is going to make Overstorms play something else and be uncomfortable, and then you have an advantage. That is the only way I see Rising Shadows at least putting Overstorms in a bit of a more difficult situation.
Start focusing around what actually matters. Like, you want to win your lanes in the early game, so instead of focusing around the picks that you want to play that are strong in the early game, focus around the matchups, because winning your lane is relative to the enemy matchup. So if, for example, you want to play if you want to play a very front to back type of composition, then just go for a counter of whatever you see in the enemy team. You see the enemy jungler, you get your own jungler. You need a second pick. You need to reveal a pick. Just reveal something that doesn't matter. AD carry, for example. Jungler for what matters. Maybe top laner even. It doesn't.
You can pick Ezreal Yumi right off the bat. You know, on the red side, just pick that. You have a safe bot lane. You don't need to worry about that, and then go for solo lanes where you have an advantage. Counter pick the enemy. Like, it's
so the first most important thing. Like, if I were on the side of Rising Shadows, first of all, you have to request the pause, like right now.
Yes, the mental pause as well.
Request that goddamn break. Then you take those 10 minutes. You listen to some music. You reset your mental. You do not speak about the game or what happened or what you're gonna do next. Blah, blah, yada yada. You just put on some goddamn Beethoven, Mozart, whatever the hell calms you down, and then for the second draft phase, do it by the book. Do it like you're just starting League of Legends as a team, and focus around like win lane, win game maybe, and then you can start to play in the game. Then you can start to orchestrate dives. Then you can start to apply pressure where it's needed. Then you can start to try to form and dive onto the enemy bot lane that blew their summon spells. That kind of thing. But you have to not skip the basics first.
I totally agree with you on this one. But yeah, I would, if I was Rising Shadows, request a pause right now as well and just think of the future instead of looking at the past, what went wrong. But yeah, are you actually? Yeah, you top 3. You're closing in, my buddy. I see you there with your 100k coming for you. Yeah, I hope so, man. Just keep betting. And I didn't bet this time round because I thought this game was too BM to bet. So I gave you a chance of catching up even more. But yeah, once you use the 200k mark, or once I bet away all my connectors, let me know. Yes. Okay, so there's a technical issue also. I mean, not technical issue, but a technical pause request also coming through. Let me just head over to the Challenger Mode website and help them out a bit. Relax the deadlines. There we go. So game number 3 in this TG Diamond Season 4, in between Rising Shadows and Overstorms, where Overstorms is leading the series with 2-0, now in a comfortable position of, if they win next game, they will have a clean 3-0 and go into the finals and already get some of that prize money, even if they lose that one. So yeah, right now we're just waiting on Rising Shadows. They have a bit of an issue with one of the internet providers for one of their players, so they are like dealing with that shortly, and as soon as that is done, we shall resume the game. So we'll give it a few minutes before we head back over. So yeah, we'll be right back with you in approximately 2 minutes. If by then the issue is fixed, we shall let you know. If not, we add a few minutes onto that. So yeah, make sure to check out our partners. You can see them on screen. Work Energy, Challenger mode, of course, very good and long-term partner, Vertigear, and as I mentioned previously, G-Science for mental health. Especially today, mental is the key of this game. If you want to continue this series and Rising Shadows Eyes, you need to have a mental reset now and focus on what you want. There's still hope, and we all believe in you. Twitch chat believes in you. The bets are going very close. It's not like one-sided. And I think there's a lot of people out there that would like to see Overstorms lose because they have been playing one style and one style only. So yeah, Rising Shadows, if there's any time to turn up, it is now. Be right back with you in exactly 2 minutes.
Oh, I got the money in my pocket, but I'm happy, so fuck it. Yo, I'm feeling so fine, I'll be drinking my wine, flying high like a rocket. I got you, you got me. Do you wanna join in? My drink is free. I got you got me, and we don't know where else to be. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. Oh, I got no money in my pocket, but I'm happy, so fuck it. Yo, I'm feeling so fine, I'll be drinking my wine, flying high like a rocket. I got you got me. Do you wanna join in? My drink is free. I got you got me, and we don't know where else to be. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. We got no problems to worry about now. We got no others to break us down. Oh, I got no money in my pocket, but I'm happy, so fuck it. Yo, I'm feeling so fine, I'll be drinking my wine, flying high like a rocket. I got you got me. Do you wanna join in? My drink is free. I got you got me, and we don't know where else to be.
Okay, we are just quickly giving you the information that we have not gotten any news on the top laner having fixed the issue, so we will just prolong the pause for an unseen amount. So let's just go with 5 minutes for now, and as soon as the 5 minutes are over, we will be back with you. Apologies for the inconvenience for everybody watching. You can have maybe a little bit of a chit chat going on in Twitch chat. Send your energy over to Rising Shadows if you believe in the reverse sweep. But yes, so far we are dealing with technical issues with one of the players. As soon as that one's fixed, we shall be back with you.
bro. About to hit the club and turn the shoot to a freak show. Look through the peephole, everybody geek, yo. Need to get girl with an extremely deep. See 6 midgets that be fighting, juggling. Maybe it's just me, cause my mind is struggling. Babes, boyfriend is acting like a clown. Know what's going down every time that we in town. Take a look through the peephole, yo. Everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them neeks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club into a freak show. Look at Snow White eating rotten apples. Dirty bass that be coming at you. Roller coasters like a supernova. Around the ring master, this my tabernacle. See you screaming, I'm like, what for? Oh, you pop? Yeah, I got popcorn. I been wake up on the wrong lawn, so we won't stop. It's a lost cause. Take a look through the peephole. Yo, everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them neeks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club into a freak show.
Okay. I believe it will be even more tragic than what we have seen so far, because the outcome of this series might very well be an FF coming through by the sides of Rising Shadows, so no reverse sweep possible. At least for now. We will give it another, 2 minutes until 35, and the 35 CST is the official time at when they have to be ready. Otherwise, they are defeated by walkover in game 3. That would conclude the series as a 3-0 in favor of Overstorms, even if I realize the deadlines. And the reschedule is sadly not possible for the finals.
Would really be climbing down the steps towards the stairs of hell.
Yeah, it
If
went
that were the
from
case.
kind of close game, but not on the same level, to getting your ass beaten into just not even showing up for game number 3. That is one way of finishing a series, I guess. But yeah, let's hope for the best outcome once again. If Rising Shadows manages to fix the issue. Technical
Rising
issues.
Shadows managed to come back for game 3, and then start to make a close game, a very close game 3, and then have a game 4 where they don't lose the early game, but then they come back later on, and then have game 5 that's a complete stomp in the favor of Rising Shadow. That would be so anime, like the shonen storyline, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like if everybody that has watched Avatar series, this is kind of the first time Aang faces the Fire Lord, or tries to face the Fire Lord and restore the balance. He just doesn't even get to show up because the Fire Lord has predicted this and is not even there. So yeah, a little bit of spoilers, but yeah, no major spoiler because it's not determining the end of the series. But yeah, basically the Avatar shows up, he's like, yo boy, I'm ready to fight you, and then the Fire Lord is just like, I'm not here, bro. I just vanished. And this is kind of how it feels for game number 3 right now. Rising Shadow is just vanishing. not even showing up. And the last seconds ticking down. I believe this will be the saddest conclusion of the semifinals we have had so far. So not only did Rising Shadows get a beautiful chance of moving on to the semifinals by CE Mist not being able to play due to IOL issues, most likely exams. So the CE Mist lineup, I'll go over to the standings so you guys see what I'm talking about. CE Mist not even playing that quarterfinals, which was one of the higher contenders for this finals actually. So CE Mist was definitely looking forward to get into there. But yeah, not able to show up means that we'll just have Rising Shadows move on to the semifinals, then to lose tragically against Overstorms in such a matter. And yeah. Wait, what? JD, what are you doing? Show me. Oh, boom. I mean, I have one emote only for this situation, and that is this one. This just sums up the whole series.
Not like this, yeah. Without even seeing, I could have guessed which one it was.
Yeah.
Overstorms are so strong they can turn best of 5 into best of 3s.
Overstorms are so strong. Okay. Okay. Oh shit! In game 3.
I feel like I'm getting way too biased to be a caster at this point.
I mean, biased is always just know the teams, and yeah. So okay, it's official. Overstorms will win this series 3-0. I will update the standings very, very shortly here. We have to force win them since Rising Shadows did not manage to fix their technical issues, meaning that we have our first finalist contenders, Overstorms, now sitting in the final, waiting for their opponent, either Service Esports, playing tomorrow, on Saturday, so the day after tomorrow, on 1 PM CST against Medieval Esports, looking to get back into whoever will win there will face off Overstorms in the finals. Let me just quickly update the screen for you. Should have updated it if I am not mistaken. Yeah, there we go. So 3-0 clean sweep by Overstorms today. Big PP or feel sad energy, I cannot decide, but I think it was a bit of both. GG's to Overstorms and unlucky, I would say. We can do a little bit of an interview, so let's just abuse my powers and drag in the man, the myth, the very well-known team captain of Overstorms. And I'm abusing powers because welcome, Mr. Bartek, how are you? Oh, is he even here?
Oh, but why am I here again?
Oh, he is here again. Okay, there you go.
I didn't want to come to an interview.
Yeah, just very, very shortly, let's do the interview the fastest way possible because you don't want to put more salt into the open wounds. They are bleeding and lying on the floor. There's no need to continue.
Yes.
But yeah, just a quick walkthrough. Maybe game number 1, you see them picking Graves Ash into your Jarvan. What is your thoughts at that point? Why do you pick your composition? Why do you win with that composition?
I was expecting for the Graves to invade me more, punish me, because he wins. But he was just chilling in his own jungle, doing nothing. So, yeah, I was very surprised by that.
And then when you saw the Echo Leona Malphite, so that full engage composition, did you get scared? And that's the Tahm Kench pickup? Or were you just like, well, this plays perfectly into our Azir Tahm Kench matchup?
I mean, no one was really scared. Like, we just picked Tahm Kench on Varus Bull's Edge of Night, and we're fine.
Okay.
Just respect the engage, and we're fine.
So I have several questions for you. The first one is that over the course of the not only the splits, but also like maybe some of the past splits that you've participated into, maybe be it like you and some other players of the roster, it seems that you cherish a lot of the same champions throughout your every single game. Like Flatline has been playing a lot of comfort picks. Snades has been prioritizing a lot of the same picks as well. So it is obvious by now that you tend to favorize a lot of comfort picks, and because of that, do you ever feel like in the drafts you can be put in an uncomfortable spot with your team?
I mean, like my mid laner is really good at as an Orianna, so and it's shown during the games. In
Wait,
the
he
past,
plays as Ian Oriana? I wouldn't have guessed that, man. Damn.
Well,
Surprised.
yeah, a lot
Sorry.
spoiler, but yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening, finalists, contenders, Ben,
Yeah.
Oriana, and Tazir, I mean, at this point, it's whatever.
And the thing is that, so you're saying that, and at the same time, if the enemies try to focus ban flatline, then they are finding themselves in a very weird spot where like the rest of your favorite champs are open, and because of that, I want to ask you something. Do you think that whoever comes out on top from the other semis, be it medieval or service, do you feel like entering the playoff last week, you could have beat them without preparation?
Medieval. I
Oof.
think medieval are better than service esports, in my opinion.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
you think you're going to be facing medieval?
Yeah, but it's like a 50-50 and more like 60-40
Okay.
in terms of.
Okay.
That's a good prediction, actually, for some fans. I like that.
Yeah,
That's...
but, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, let's quickly touch on to game 2, because that was... yeah, there's many words I want to use that are not PG-13, so let's not go there. But,
Please use them.
yeah, so Rising Shadows revealing their hand with Syndra first pick, which was a flex pick, that was fine, and then was going for the Camille Echo. At that point, you guys just had the option of picking the Orianna, you did it. And then they bring out the set Senna, and seeing as you guys have the Ezreal already, you're fine with just scaling in lane. But the set basically tells you guys you can abuse the range, and that was your option for picking the Lulu, I believe. As well as just getting some safety against this full engage comp. And I mean, if this game would have gone even in terms of gold and powers and all of that stuff and kills, you would have had a bit of a harder game, I would have to say. But being as a Kali just 5-0 after like, what was it, 10 minutes? What exactly like did you guys expect to happen here in the rest of the series if this would have continued? Are you like, this is the breaking point, we just win, or like?
I mean, win top, win game, you know? That's how you, that's how you play.
That's one way of putting it. But yeah, like, let's say we would have had game number 3. Do you think there was the possibility of reverse sweep, or did you just break their mental into oblivion?
I mean, we didn't really expect the reverse sweep, but you know, you gotta be open to sometimes making mistakes. But yeah, I guess we could have won 3-0, regardless of the DC or not.
Okay.
One question that's really crucial is, was there any reaction from your AD carry when the Malphite BM'd him in the first game?
There was a reaction actually, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to kill him, to like fucking tell him to fuck off with the BM.
Hey, it's Innocence, is your
Yeah.
top laner, right?
Yes, one sense.
Let me just abuse my my powers again. Hello, Innocence. We were just speaking of you. So the only player I have to mention to you is you playing Malphite. You see a juicy Varus in front of you. You're not that healthy, neither is the Varus. You decide to BM, and you nearly get killed and have to expend flash. Option A, worth. Option 2, not worth. Option 3, or stream me do it all the time.
Probably worth for sure.
Okay, all's worth. I disagree, but that was fun to watch at least. Man, okay. Second game for you, my man. Just to boost your ego, playing a Kali. How did you feel? Walk me to your laning phase from minute 0 to minute 15 or whenever that game ended.
I mean, he entered some trades early, and then he just entered overall later on. Like after 6, he just went in and died over and over. So wasn't too much to it. He just entered.
Okay. So even though you think, because we had this discussion in Twitch chat, kind of, we had like, hey, Camille is kind of better than Akali late game. Disagree? Agree?
I mean, Camille obviously beats Akali in side lane, but like I am confident in my Akali play, so I'm pretty sure I can out team fighter.
Okay, so that was your behind it. And I backed you up in chat. I don't know if you saw, but I was definitely already deciding the game in terms of words, saying that you guys would win this game for sure, based off draft. But yeah. Yeah, anything else you want to add, Sherlock? Maybe? Because we don't want to annoy these guys for too long. One time that they
Yes,
finish a
please
best
get me out of here.
finish a best of 3 so fast that you can actually go before 9. That is a very rare situation. But yeah, okay,
Yeah,
let's say...
Do you guys think that you will be 3-0ing the finals?
I mean, we're hoping so. We are very confident that we will, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, have to prove us wrong then and have to...
I will.
3-0 the finals then. If not, I will not give you prize money, Pepega, JK.
Okay.
I'm joking. But yes, best of luck to the finals and hope to expect you. I can't speak today. Hope to see you in Twitch chat on the semifinals next time when Wendival and the other teams are playing, just to see who your opponent is. I would love the support. And of course, as always, best of luck on the Rift and very pleased to have you guys in the competition.
See you on Sunday.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye.
Adios, amigos. And with that being said, do we get a word from Garnix? Garnix, I feel like at least to redeem yourself. Oh, he's full muted. Feels bad. Unlucky. I wanted to talk to him.
Oh, damn.
Let me see if he's still in chat. You can? Hey, what? You can? Oh, yeah. Perfect. I'll come. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for listening and being in stream. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, so just as a bit of a redemption, since you didn't get the chance of reverse sweeping them, and I feel like you were burning to do so, but let's maybe talk a bit about what happened and give us your side of the game and like what happened overall. Was it some issues internally? Was it some communication issues? Bad draft, bad communication, bad coordination? What was going on? Why did you drop this series so drastically, from your point of view?
I mean, from my point of view, actually, I didn't get too much from the games because I'm obviously playing bot lane, and like, I don't know how everything went wrong on the top side, but I guess everything did go wrong. Like first game, I decided to play
Ash.
like a scaling Ash build with the fucking what's it called, Muramana shit.
Yeah.
Like it's not a really well-known build yet, but it's starting to pop up a bit in higher elos if you want like real scaling. So we were just playing for like to survive bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, you
get
lost
into
the early
the mid-game.
trades, so that made sense, and I even commented on that during the game, and I said props for you for going for the scaling build, since in lane you didn't really have anything to do anymore after like the first 2 ganks. Yeah, then, so game number 1, how exactly do you lose that one? Because that felt way closer than the other game. I have to think of when was that, even though it was just an hour ago. But yes. So they had the Overstorms Kench in the bot lane. They kind of won thanks to 2 ganks by the Jarvan, as well as Graves not really capitalizing on him having priority a lot of the times. And also Echo just not getting ahead against the Azir, and Azir just at some point taking over the game, as well as Aatrox being a good spot against the Malphite. But yeah, maybe behind the composition, what was your idea behind this Leona engage, Malphite engage, and then Echo Assassin, as well as Ashe setup and farming jungler? Like, what did you have in mind?
Yeah, the idea was actually to, like we do their mid laner played a lot of like control ranged mages, right? So we tried to go for engage. The Tom Kench pick actually caught us off a little bit. Like we weren't expecting it. We hadn't seen the support play any Kench at all. So yeah, that actually caught us off. We actually like playing this style a lot with like long range engage, picking off some people because it's still like a diamond league, right? Everyone makes random mistakes.
Exactly, and they did make some mistakes in that game. So.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's like walking at the wrong spots at the wrong time. So it's a comp we have been playing more often. Yeah, it doesn't really work if like the mid jungle can't get their damage off, which was the case in game 1. I checked the damage graphs afterwards. Like both Graves and Echo did like no damage at all. Even Malphite outdamaged them with the full tank build.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the early mid game was just too messed up. I didn't rewatch the games yet, so I don't know what happened on the top side, but
Like from an outside perspective, I mean, yes, your top side. I said this when I joined the lobby, kind of as a meme. The Doug Radio looking at you in hopes of him performing a bit better than what I've seen so far, because I know he's capable of doing so. But yeah, I believe you lost a lot of top lane matchups, as well as having very unlucky skirmishes where you just did not come out ahead, and that kind of gave Overstorms a slight lead, even though they did not look so confident in game number 1. So you had, I think that was your game to take. If you win that one, it's gonna be at least a different series, in my opinion. Wait, let me just reply to Twitch chat real quick. And then now game number 2, what exactly happened there? Because that was such a disruptive composition from both sides. Like, they had the comfortable Overstorm style that we are used to by now, and you guys just picking the full engage combat. It's just not working out. So what happened game 2?
I mean, game 2 we tried more like more of a flank comp, where we should have Camille and Echo on the flank, and then have Senna, Syndra, and Sett just in like frontlining them basically. I went for the tanky Senna build as well, so it was harder for them to pick us off. But I mean, the game ended in 23 minutes, so that didn't really matter too much. So yeah, we had the idea to get some flanks in the mid to late game, but the game was already over real quick. Like, I did rewatch that for a little bit. As soon as top lane left his lane and then couldn't go back to lane because he disrespect walked into Akali actually.
He had like two. Sorry to interrupt, but he had like 2 scenes in that game early on where he actually nearly killed Akali, and with the jungler's help, he could have done so. But yeah, then he just disrespected, as you just said, and I believe from that on out, he just ran it down. Honestly, I mean, hitting a 0-10 in 25 minutes is a bit much.
The thing is, Snates invaded our blue buff, I think, and our jungler called for help. We wanted to collapse, but as Doc Radio Mali was going in on the Jarvan, our jungle actually said that we shouldn't go in. So it was a kind of a unlucky timing, I guess, or maybe the communication should have been cleaner. But yeah, then he went in. He had a 1v1 trade with the Jarvan, and afterwards he tried to walk back to lane. He got like shut down by Akali, so he had to base. Akali base as well. But our top wave was like hard shoving in, so they both TP'd.
Yeah, so difference in gold as well as itemization, and at that point where he's pushing away from you, that's pretty much hard and rough. Get back from that one. But that was not all that was happening that game. Also, like, Orianna just completely getting the platings. Like, it was 10 minutes into the game, she had already 2 platings taken. And then Jarvan, of course, with the Herald just taking that first tower. That was kind of where the game, in my opinion, was over, because at that point you were just so far behind in gold. So yeah, maybe mid lane, anything there you should have or could have done differently, seeing as the matchup was the Orianna into the Syndra, and that was kind of my hope personally, to see something different from you guys.
Yeah, same actually. We saw the Syndra into Ori matchup. That's why we decided to go with Syndra mid instead of bot lane. Because first rotation we went with like double flex with the Echo Syndra.
Yeah, exactly.
So we actually hoped to win that. We tried to gank a few times, but I don't know if our jungler was on a ward or if Flatline is just like good at predicting ganks and he just respects a lot. But like a lot of times Echo couldn't even go mid for the gank because Flatline respected like really well actually.
Then a question for you. I mean, the Echo as a flex pick makes sense in draft, but if you're looking to have a Syndra mid lane matchup versus Orianna, why not pick like something easier in the jungle that is always executable, even if spotted by a ward? Like there's a Zac, for example, there's a Jarvan. I don't know the meta for Zac right now in jungle, but for example, the Jarvan, if you pick that one up instead, and if of giving it over to the enemy as a first pick, why not? I believe you are first pick second. Yeah, you have first pick. You could have picked up the Jarvan first pick on
Syndra,
Rising Shadows. So, and then afterwards pick up the Syndra as a response to the Orianna. I just don't get behind the Echo pick in Diamond anymore. In Platinum, it makes sense to me, but in Diamond, I just feel he's so based of getting ahead that he's useless if he doesn't. So yeah, maybe a little bit of thought in for like the future, but yeah, sadly, this is the end of you for this competition, season 4. But I think you already asked me. Was it you that asked me for when the next season will start? Or was it somebody? No, that was somebody else.
Not
Actually.
sure.
No. But yeah, season 5 coming soonish. Hope to see you guys again. By then, you should have enough time to fix the small issues you had today. Because I mean, you made it to playoff semifinals. That's already something. It's not like
Yeah.
you guys just lost
Yeah, true.
everything. So there's at least some achievement. But yes, definitely hope to see you guys redeem yourself in the future, and hope to see you guys participate once again in our TG League. Unless Sherlock has something to add, my friend.
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, I would
That's
wish
about
you
it.
a nice evening, and thank you so much for joining and participating. You know, you are very welcome to join every time around. And yeah, best of luck in your future tournaments and games.
Yes, sure. Thank you, man. Thanks for the cast as well.
Yeah, no worries. See ya. Bye bye.
All right. See ya.
With that being said, Twitch chat, I believe that brings us to the end here. Sad
Yep.
at the end there that we had to finish it with a walkover in game number 3. I was hoping for at least
Absolutely.
one game going over to Rising Shadows to redeem
Top
themselves.
10 anime side endings.
Yeah. With that being said, I don't even feel like we should play the crab song today. It just doesn't feel right. So we'll save it for the next time, the
I
next
agree.
semifinals. And we will just let this song play out and then head out. So thanks everybody for joining. Don't be salty, Overstorms, or Rising Shadows, or anyone else in the Twitch chat. Everybody gets their chance to redeem themselves. And if you have more than just words in the chat, hello Andy, who won, Overstorms 130. If you have more than just words and you want to back up your words with action, just join the TG League. Season 5 signups coming soon, as well as the TG Valorant League coming next week around, as well as the TG Valorant Cups coming every weekend from next week starting. So Saturday, Sunday, once again, 2 cups coming your way. Pricing will be random, so sometimes there's pricing on the cups, sometimes there's not, depending on how much Twin and me actually earn from our daily work. And yeah, with that being said, Sherlock, congratulations on successful cast, and thank you so much for being here, my man.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. It's always a pleasure for me to be casting alongside you, Jason.
Yeah, I can
And now you know
always
it.
return the favor there. Feels so good to be casting with you. I think it's just the time we have spent together at this point that makes us such a comfortable duo.
Jason.
Oh, you. But yes, enough flattering here. We'll let you guys off. Thank you so much for participating once again, Rising Shadows. Best of luck in the future tournaments and games, and hope to see you guys again. Overstorms, best of luck in the finals, and be right back with you tomorrow. Like, you know, it's playoffs week. We have a game every day, and on Saturday we even have 2 games. So let's go and see you guys next time. And
See you tomorrow.
bye-bye, Twitch chat.
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and sound.
Cracky.